Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Fanta.
Hello, Hen.
So, today was a pretty
Mm-hmm.
awesome day in court as far as I'm concerned. Do you not agree?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, Johnny was on the stand for the whole day, continuing on from where he left off yesterday. And a lot of information came out,
yeah,
including some of the audios and some of the photos. But it started off with Johnny talking about the arguments that him and Amber used to have. Can you remember that?
yeah,
So, how she belittled him and his experience, and she always had to be right.
yeah,
So it was a constant battle with her, if you like. And he said the arguments were like going round in circles all the time. Um, and he was saying how he was confused that he'd, you know, gone through all his life, 30 years in the film industry and whatever, to end up right back where he started his life with his mother.
yeah.
Um, because that's the situation he got himself into when he met Amber Heard.
And her at her age telling him at his age how he didn't know anything and he was wrong and
Yeah,
pretty much was stupid.
yeah. Um, well, I mean, he's done pretty well for himself in his film career,
Mm-hmm.
is all I'm saying. So he might have a slight idea of what he's talking about.
Maybe just a little bit.
Just a titty bit. I mean, he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, um, yeah. So that's what he first talked about on his testimony. Then I don't know if it was the Australia incident he talked about next. Can you remember?
Well, I remember things, but I don't remember the order.
No, no. But he definitely talked about the Australia incident.
Yes,
But
he did.
I can't remember if he talked about any. I remember the Australia incident. I remember the phone incident. I remember the poo incident and the birthday incident. But I can't remember anything else because it's all become one. I've not been very well. My mind isn't 100% here.
Mm.
So you'll have to excuse me. So, Fanta, do you remember him talking about any other instance?
What was it today that he was talking about? They asked him why he thought he stayed,
Yes,
and
yes, I did.
he said it had to do something with his father because his father stayed and endured
Yeah,
everything that his mother threw at his father and how she
and he did,
belittled him and
and he didn't want to fail.
yeah, he didn't want to fail, and he wanted to fix her, fix
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he didn't want it to fail. He didn't want to fail. He
Yeah,
stayed because he didn't want to fail, and and his father stayed. Father stayed for many years. I mean, he was the youngest child, wasn't he, Johnny?
yes,
Or
he's
is
the
the youngest
youngest.
child? And he was 17, was it, when his dad left, was it?
15.
15. So his dad obviously was around for 25 years, give or so, give or take. I don't know. I don't know how much older his two older siblings are. I mean, I know, um, one of them's just a couple of years older than him, but I don't know about the other two.
I think the
But
other two are older.
yeah,
I
they
think
are.
that he and Christy are like 16 months or something like that apart.
So are they half siblings, the other two?
I don't think so.
So they're all the same dad, all the same mum.
I believe so.
So yeah, so you're looking probably 20 odd years that the dad stood by.
Hmm.
Mhm. So, but yeah, he didn't want to fail. That's why he stayed. He didn't want to fail,
Yeah.
and yeah, and
He
he
reflected
also.
on, oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. Go on, carry on.
I was going to say he said in his mind he reflected on his and Vanessa's relationship and how it was loving and, you know, it was never
Yeah,
violent or anything like that.
yeah.
He reflected on that too, and I think he regretted a lot.
Oh, I think he regretted. But the other thing he said about leaving is he didn't want to hurt Amber the way his mum was hurt when his dad left, because his mum tried to kill herself after his dad left,
And he said
and he did.
Had said things like that to him
Yeah,
when he tried to leave
that's
sometimes.
yeah, that's called emotional blackmail.
She knew that, and that's why she said it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, have you ever been in a sort of relationship where someone says something like that to you?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't live without you. I need you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go on if we can't be together. And
Yeah.
what happens?
You
What
stay and it
happens?
doesn't get better. It gets
You
worse.
stay and hope you get better. Um, I had someone say that to me once. We weren't in a relationship. We hadn't been for about 3 years. And even when we were in a relationship, it wasn't really a relationship. Um, but he turned up at one day at my door 3 years after we broke up. And the reason we broke up is because I found out he was sleeping with 4 other women. Um, so yeah, he really loved me.
Ooh, busy.
And he was a bit busy, yeah. It was different women every night, so I had somewhere to sleep. Basically, it was homeless.
Oh,
Aye.
oh,
Oh. um, but yeah, so he turned up at mine one day, early morning, I think it was. And he's like, "Oh, I really want to be with you." I'm like, "I'm not interested." My mum had just passed.
yeah.
Okay, you got to remember. So I was in a similar sort of headspace as Johnny was on the 21st of May. And my mum had just passed. And I've got this guy turning up my door, begging for me to take him back. And I'm like, no, 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 literally.
Yeah.
And he's like, "But I need you. I really care about you." I'm like, "You don't love me." And besides which, and I lied. I'm not going to deny it. I lied, and I said, "I'm with someone else." "I had you first," was his response.
Hmm.
Mm. I lied again. "No, you didn't, because I'm back with the father of my children." I wasn't. I had no intention of getting back with the father of my children.
Yeah.
But he still wouldn't take that. He still kept going on. I ended up having to get a friend of mine to phone me when he turned up the second time and pretend to be the father of my children down the phone. He still wouldn't take that as a "I don't want to be with you."
Yeah.
And he did this "I can't live without you." And do you know what I said to him?
Yeah.
Fine. Go kill yourself then. I don't care. Now that sounds harsh. Remember, I had just lost my mum.
Yep.
But I also wasn't going to let him take me for a mug, and I knew full well he wasn't going to go and kill himself.
Yeah.
I knew full well he was not going to go and kill himself. And do you know what? For a while afterwards, I did worry because I hadn't seen or heard from him after that. And then a few years later, he came up as a recommended friend on Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, not adding him. But I noticed he was friends with someone I knew. And that someone I knew was my son.
Yeah.
So he was friends with my son on Facebook. And I said to my son, I asked my son, why are you friends with him on Facebook? Oh, he's a really cool guy, he is. He's like, he talked me through some really dark times at some point, like, sitting around smoking. And I'm like, he's my age. And do you know who he is? Because my kids witnessed him coming round harassing
Mhm.
me, I might add.
Mhm.
Um, he's like, oh, shit, I didn't really even realise. Now, Amy, my surname is unique, isn't it?
It is.
So do you think this person didn't have a clue who my son was?
Nah, he knew.
Oh, he knew. That's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
He may not have known who he was when he first met him, but he knew who he was when he added him on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, anyway, what was we talking about? I went off on a tangent then.
We were
Talking
talking
about
about how.
emotional blackmail. Emotional
Yeah.
blackmail. I can't live
Yeah.
without you. Oh, fuck off. I've seen
Yeah.
it happen to my sister, and that's why I won't allow it to happen to me. Because she put up with a very abusive relationship for a long time because
Mm.
he kept threatening to kill himself. Um, and I witnessed it. I witnessed him do it, and I witnessed him pin her up against the wall by her throat. You know.
Yeah.
And when I tried to stop him, he threatened me. Um, bit like the stair incident. Same thing happened, except for I was one nearly pushed down the stairs.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't my sister doing the pushing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what was we talking about? Oh yeah, off on a tangent again. So yeah, I don't emotional blackmail. I don't deal with that. Go away.
Yeah.
Because I've seen how destructive it is. Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. I can't remember what we were talking about. Let's go back to so he was talking why he didn't leave her.
Yeah.
Then he talked about some of the incidents. So he definitely talked about the Australia incident.
Yes.
And he was saying how he'd literally tried to hide in every bathroom and every bedroom in the house. 5 bathrooms in that house. And she
Yeah.
followed him.
9
And
bedrooms or something. 7.
yeah, banging on every door. Every time he locked himself in a door, she'd be banging on the door. And then eventually he's locked in a bathroom and she's banging on the door, and then he hears her move away from the door. And he stands there for a while and he listens and he can't hear her. So he leaves the room and goes downstairs to the lower level to the games room where the
Yeah,
bar
like
is,
a bar rec room, kind of.
rec room, where he goes down and he's had enough and he thinks, fuck it, I'm having a drink.
Yeah.
And he pours himself 3 shots of vodka, I think he says,
Uh-huh.
knocks him back. And then she turns up and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. This isn't what he says. This is what he wanted to say. He was very polite and didn't swear once, but you knew full well he was stopping himself from swearing.
Yeah.
I could sense it. He's like, what word can I use here instead of a curse word? Because you could sense it, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. And she berates him for drinking because it's the first time he's drunk in how long? 18 months?
18 months. Yeah.
18 months. Apart from that sip of champagne that he had when he was giving the award. Oh, he told about that as well. Was that today or yesterday he told about that?
It was today.
It was today. Yeah, he gave award to
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. And after that he gave out the award, they were behind, and Christopher Lee was there, and his wife was there, and Johnny was there, and a waiter brought over 3 glasses of champagne. And Christopher Lee handed one to him, handed one to his wife, and took one for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought to himself at that moment, and this is a while beforehand, he thought to himself, well, it's only champagne. It's not that bad. So he had half a glass. And
Mm-hmm.
then he went and met Amber for dinner and told her, didn't lie to her, didn't hide it from her, told her that he had a glass of champagne
Mm-hmm.
or half a glass of champagne.
And
And
he described it as it was the way it was meant to be drank. He wasn't drinking it to numb himself.
mm,
That he rather enjoyed it because,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. But she then berated him for drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And up until that point, he'd never asked her or suggested to her that she'd go sober with him at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But on that point, he said, well, maybe you should give up drinking too, or something along those lines. Because
To
she'd been
support
drinking
me.
wine and support me, yeah. And she said,
I don't have a problem.
no. She said, no.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You've got a spouse who you believe has a problem with alcohol, yet you think it's okay to drink alcohol in front of them?
Mm-hmm.
I call bullshit.
Yeah. I think she did it just so that he might slip up and she could go at him again. That would be a reason. Not that she
But
needed a reason, but
no, no. So he'd gone 18 months or thereabouts without a drink, apart from that half a glass of champagne
Mm-hmm.
before the vodka incident. And
Mm-hmm.
he's had this glass of vodka. She starts having a go at him, and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. He didn't say that in the testimony, but that's what he's thinking in his head. I've just got away from you. Fuck off. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And she grabs the bottle off him and throws it, and it skims past his head and smashes behind him.
And then he gets up, walks over to the bar, gets a bigger jug of vodka, takes it
One
back,
with a
sits down
handle.
and pours one.
Yeah, one with a handle. He specifies it's one with a handle. So this is a
Mhm.
big ass jug, as you say, Vanna. We
Yeah,
don't have them that big in the UK. I'm pretty sure we don't. I've never seen a vodka bottle with a handle.
yeah.
and pours himself another one. So she grabs that and throws it at him. And at this point, it hits his hand that is resting on the table and
Mm-hmm.
severs his finger.
Yep.
And he says after that he must have had some sort of nervous breakdown. He doesn't know because he's never had a nervous breakdown before. But that's all he can imagine it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he admits that he wrote with his severed finger things on the wall. And he said
Mm-hmm.
it was like memories,
Yeah.
instants, thoughts, memories that he was writing. Now, we've seen these pictures. They haven't been shown to court yet, as far as I'm aware.
No, not that I know.
No. Um,
We did see the pictures of his finger
we
and
saw the.
him in the emergency room, and then he
Oh yeah,
remembered the cigarette burn, and he talked about that too.
yeah. When he saw the picture of him in the emergency room, he said, "Oh, there's something I forgot.
Yeah.
See that mark on my face? That's where she put a fag out in my face."
Yeah.
So obviously, I am using my own words, but I'm not
Yeah.
as eloquent with my speech as Johnny Depp is.
I don't think anybody is.
So, but yeah. So yeah, he forgot about that until we saw the picture and went, "Oh shit, I forgot about that. Better get that one in there as well."
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I think he then talks about. I think he then talks about her birthday. Oh, do the audios come next, or is that?
Um, when they when they went for lunch,
Yeah.
I kind of fell asleep for a little bit,
Uh,
and then yeah.
oops. You did a me the night before when I fell asleep listening to him on Rob's stream while I was on panel. Luckily, my mic was muted. Otherwise, you would have all heard me snoring. Um,
Well, I
so
had gone from Tugs to Ricadas during the lunch break, and I was listening to Ricada talk about it, and I just drifted off. And then I woke up, and I was actually, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. I just remembered when when I was waking up, I heard the lawyers asking him questions, and I was answering them. I go, I remember, have you read this article? And I went, yes. And I was like, oh shit, can they hear me? And then I woke up. I just remembered that. Oh my god, I feel so stupid now. Yes, I read it. Oh, jeez.
So, yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, I think. Well, let's go to the audios because you've just
Okay.
gone back to listen to the audios because
Yeah.
some of them I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
They're all meant to come from the same piece of audio, and they're snippets from the same piece of audio, I believe. But the first two I hadn't heard before. The second two I had. Now, in the first one, he's talking to her saying, "You can't remember." And he actually sounded a little bit angry in that one, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And
Probably because
she
that's
said,
what I say to him.
yeah. And she replies something like, "I had an Ambien." Ambien, is that what they call it?
Yeah, it's a sleeping pill. I've had those before. And, whew,
Right. So he's saying, "You can't remember." And he's getting quite annoyed with her.
Yeah, because she won't shut up.
And she said, well, I had
Sorry,
an
I hate.
Ambien. Well, I had an
Yeah.
Ambien. Well, I had an Ambien, you know. And I'm like,
Mhm.
hang on. So she's been accusing him of blacking out and not remembering things he's done
Mhm.
because of drugs he's taken.
Mhm.
Yet it's her on tape saying she can't remember because she took fucking drugs.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh, mm, mm. Then there's this clip where he's talking about Australia.
Yeah, that one I hadn't heard.
I hadn't heard. Never heard that clip before. And he says, I was going from bathroom to bathroom to bathroom to bathroom, every bathroom in that house, and you followed me. You followed me. I couldn't get away. You're banging on the doors, rating me. I couldn't get away. And she don't deny it.
Nope.
No. I can't remember what she said in response. Can you?
Something to the effect of the other ones, I think, of how he runs or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it something about we can't solve things if you
Yes,
keep
yes,
running?
yes,
You're running away from the solution, or something
yes.
like that.
That's it.
Hmm. And then the next two audios we've both heard before.
Yes.
Um, there was the one, I can't remember which one came next, but there was the one where she talks about how she wasn't punching him, she was hitting him.
Yeah, that was the one, the next one.
Yeah.
And if
And
there
then
was one after, then I haven't heard it yet.
there was, I think there was one in between. There was one in between, but both of them I've heard before, and anyone that followed the UK trial would have heard them before, and I can't remember what it was. And someone in the comments can tell us what it is at some point, but I can't remember what it was because a lot's happened since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there was another audio that came later, and Fanta, I don't think you've heard it yet.
No.
Now this is brand new as far as I'm aware. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So they asked Johnny what was on this audio, what were these audios about, and he was saying, well, that's what I'm saying about the arguments. That's what she's like. She just goes on and on and on and on, and I can't get a word in the edgeway. You know, it's like that all the time. But yeah, draw it. What are you doing, madam?
Nothing. Nothing. Go ahead.
You know she was doing something then. Clump, 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 clump. Go on, what was you doing?
I was getting my medicine out of my medicine box.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll let you off. I'll let you off. You need that medicine.
Thank you.
Like Johnny, you need certain medicines.
Mhm.
Mhm. So
Unfortunately.
yes, but what was the same? Yeah. So then, yeah, he said, yeah, we're saying that's what the argument's about. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It was like this constantly,
Yeah.
constantly. And he then said, and I remember this incident. And this is the doors, toes, punch incident.
Yeah.
Um, and if you don't know about the doors, toes, punch incident, putting it briefly, this I didn't know before. So he said he was in the shower, and she's banging on the door, banging on the door, banging on the door, banging on the door. And at first he's ignoring her and she ain't stopping. So he ends up getting out of the shower and he opened the door about 4 inches from how he held his hand, maybe 6 inches. Wasn't a big gap, but enough so he can control the door and hold it so she couldn't force her way in, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But she decides she's going to try and force her way in. So he's pushing back on the door, she's pushing the door, and then and screaming at him the whole time. And then she yells out in pain. And he's like, oh shit. And he's realised that he's run over her toes with the door. And then she kicks the door and it hits him in the head.
Yeah.
And this is actually all on the audio as well. I don't know why they didn't just play that bit, because this whole discussion is on the audio. But she kicks the door, it hits him in the head, knocks him a bit while he's off balance. Oh, and he goes, ow, why'd you do that? Or something like that.
He
What's
said,
that
"What
about?
the fuck was that about?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that? And then while he's a bit, dazed from being hit in the head by a door, she comes around the door and punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Now that whole thing was on the audio. We heard that audio of that discussion. And that's where I wasn't hitting you. I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you. Came in.
Yeah.
She
And he
didn't
goes,
deny it.
"How are your toes?"
Yeah, how are your toes? I'm
How are
not
you?
complaining about them though, am I? You're such a baby.
Yeah.
Listen to the whole audio if you haven't listened to it before. I think you can find it on Incredibly Average's YouTube channel.
Yes.
Incredibly Average is actually in the court in Virginia watching the trial. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And he's a very handsome young man. That's all I'm saying. You don't see him on his videos, I'm afraid, though. So you won't
No.
know. I know.
No.
I got inside sources.
Ooh,
I've got.
sources.
No, I haven't really. I saw a picture on Twitter. On the other thing, the other YouTuber that I've seen, Daft News, that was an inside source. That was Tanya going, "Hey, look at this! This is Daft," and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, "Yeah, it's all right." It's not my cup of tea, but it's all right. Whereas Fanta's going, "Oh my god, he's dropped it, gorgeous! I told you he was good looking. I told you he was good looking," and you hadn't even seen what he looked like. You haven't
I've
even
seen
seen what he
half
looked
of
like.
him.
You saw his long hair.
Oh, I've seen half of him, half of his face before.
Mm, okay. He's not my cup of tea,
He's
but I can see
hot.
how someone. He's not that hot.
Oh,
He's an all right looking guy.
no, I mean, I've seen him in a kimono.
He's still only an all right looking guy. Hey, should we talk about who I've seen in a lot less than a kimono?
You,
He's hot.
that's different. And
In case anyone's wondering, I'm talking about Fanta's son.
that's different.
Stop traumatizing me, you evil woman, she says.
Oh,
Oh,
with
come on,
my
you've seen him.
picture
You've seen
20.
him walking around with nothing on. You know you have. He's your son.
Yeah, but like I said, sometimes it's a blessing to not see someone.
Anyway, back on subject
Oh
because
yeah.
we've gone off on a tangent again. So, right, so he talks about that. Then he talks about. Do you know something we forgot way back earlier on, and it's gone from my head again now? But I remember when he was talking just now.
What's that?
Oh, I can't remember now. It will come back to me again later.
Okay.
It was something they were talking about nearer to the beginning of the testimony, and I can't think what it was. I remembered it when I was talking, or we were talking about the punching incident, but I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. So then they talked about her birthday. Yeah.
I think
Was you
that
awake for that?
my I don't think so.
No, she wasn't awake for that bit. Um, so he talked about her birthday and how he'd been at a very long business meeting in which he found out that a lot of money was missing.
Mm.
A lot of money was missing. Just disappeared. I think he even just said it disappeared. It had disappeared. His new business manager was talking him through the files, if you like.
Yeah.
And he said he had a glass of wine while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 6 or 7 of them, and they shared one bottle of wine. So it wouldn't have even been a big glass if it's 6 or 7 of them sharing a bottle of wine, would it?
No.
No. And he knew he was running late for her birthday party. It was supposed to start at 8:30 or something like that. He had to go back to his house. The Sweetser, is that what they call it? The Sweetser
Yeah.
house. He thinks it may have been to pick up her present, but he wasn't sure. He needed to go there for something. And then she asked him to pick up some more wine. So he went and got more wine. By the time he got there, he's like an hour and 45 minutes late, or an hour and a half late. And but he joins him at the table. He's sitting there, and I think he says she didn't really talk to him, but he was talking to other people, the other guests at there, and he was naming the guests, and I can't remember who they were now, but he was naming the guests. I think he said Rocky and Io and Josh, but I think he said some other people as well.
Yeah.
And it was after everyone went. I think he might have gone upstairs before the last couple of people left. It had gone on so long, I was tired. I was drifting in and out, a bit like Fantasmigorical. So not all of the information was going in. And he was talking about that. And I think he'd gone upstairs, and she came up while he's sitting on the bed reading and starts punching him.
Yeah.
So he gets up off the bed, he grabs her by the shoulder, pushes her down to the bed, sits her down on the bed, and says, "Stay there. Do not follow me. I'm going." And she gets up and gets in his face, and it's blocking the door. And he says, "What do you want? Do you want to punch me again? Go on then, punch me again." So she punches him in the face.
Mm.
"Do you want to do it again?" So she punches him in the face again. At this point, he grabs her by the shoulder, walks her back to the bed, sits her down on the bed, and says, "Stay there. Do not follow me. I'm going," and leaves.
Mm.
And he can't get why she was so angry with him. Because she knew why he was late. He'd apologised. He'd even let her know that he was going to be late.
And she had him running errands.
And she had him running errands. And he said she was acting like a brat. And he actually used that word. She was
Yeah.
acting like a brat. But yeah. And then the next morning, she's gone to, what was it? What's that festival they went to?
Uh, Car- Car- Carvala? Something like
Coachella.
yeah.
Coachella. Yeah. She's gone to Coachella, and he had every intention to go over to the apartments that day because she was going to be away for a couple of days, pack up his stuff and go.
Yeah.
And then he gets a phone call to tell him there's a shit in his bed.
Did you see what was trending?
No, what was trending?
Hashtag me poo
Really?
on Twitter. Yeah, it was number 6 trending after they
Apparently,
talked about it in court.
apparently, cancel Amber Heard was also trending.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Someone said that. I like that though. Hashtag me poo. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So, he decided maybe it wasn't the best time to go over there after all,
Yeah.
and he didn't return to that apartment until the last fateful night. And then that, where he was talking about his mum's passing as well,
Which
and the
was the
lead up
day
to his
before.
mum's passing. The lead up to his mum's passing, how he took Jack and
Lily Rose.
Lily Rose. Sorry, I for some reason I couldn't. I knew it was a hyphenated name, and it wouldn't come to me. And I'm thinking Samantha Joe, and I'm like, no, that's my cousin. Um, so Lily Rose, he took Lily Rose and Jack to say goodbye, even though his mum was fully unconscious at this point.
Hmm.
But they got to say their farewells and everything. But he wasn't there when she actually passed.
Yeah.
But he did
Sister
phone
was.
Amber. He did phone
Yeah.
Amber and let her know that she'd passed and that he wanted to come over and collect some stuff because he was going away on tour. And according to him, he went over there, told her that he wanted a divorce. He thought it was best for both of them. Because it was his wake up call. His mum's passing was his wake up call.
Yeah.
It made him realise that life is too short and he couldn't carry on that way. I think his wake up call was actually her birthday night. But that was what kicked him into actually saying to her, "I want a divorce." She didn't particularly like hearing that, obviously.
Hmm.
She brought up Poopgate, apparently,
Hmm.
not him. Um, he phoned. What was the estate manager called? The one that's
Kevin
told you,
Murphy.
Kevin Murphy. He phoned Kevin Murphy. She was having a go at Kevin Murphy down the phone. And then she phoned IO, and they were laughing and joking about Poopgate on the
Yeah.
phone. So he snapped the phone off her, said to Io, she's yours now. You can have her, or something like that.
Yeah.
And threw the phone down onto the sofa. And he was describing how far the part of the sofa was away from where Amber was sitting. So my theory that it may have bounced and hit her is out of the window because it was nowhere near her.
Yeah. I thought so.
So and the phone's still connected to Io at this point, and he's walked away. He's in the kitchen, standing by the fridge, when Rocky comes running past him, shouting, "Leave her alone! Leave her alone!"
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
One, where did you come from? And two, I'm nowhere near her." And then the security come in pretty much straight after Rocky.
Yeah.
And Amber starts shouting, "Don't hit me, Johnny, don't hit me." Or she starts, "Don't hit me, Johnny, don't hit me." And the security car comes straight in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along that lines. And then she spots the security guard and says, "If he hits me again," or "that's the last time he hits me," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Judge says to him, "Come on, Johnny, let's just get out of here." And they leave.
Come on, boss.
"Come, boss, let's just get out of here." And that was the last incident, and that was the last time he saw her until she turned up at his hotel room.
Did he talk about that?
He mentioned it, but he didn't talk about it.
Oh.
Now, I hinted at another piece of audio.
Yeah.
That's what I needed to revert back to. Now, he had said that part of her berating him and bullying him and attacking him was she'd use his kids against him and call him a bad dad.
Yeah.
And that hurt him to the core. And he started to worry, was he a bad dad?
Yeah.
And actually, she got in the way of his relationship with his children
Yeah.
because she wanted him all to herself. So he wasn't able to see his children as much because she needed all his attention. But this is where we get to the last bit of audio, the bit no one had heard before. And it's a bit muffled and it is a bit hard to make out what's being said. And both of them sound a little bit slow in the speech. But they're bickering and arguing, and she says something along the lines of, "I hope Jack's stepfather is better than you and makes him the man that you can't make him," or something along them lines.
Mm.
And his reaction is, "Oh my God, you're going there again? You know, bringing the
Yeah.
kids into it." So, yeah. But he got a lot said today. And there was a lot for the audience, I call them audience, for the
Jerry?
jury to listen into. And there has been a news report to say that one of the jury members was paying great attention to what Johnny was saying and watching Amber Heard's reactions as he was saying them
Yep.
and taking notes. And yeah, he was keeping the jury attentive today, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, And he made people chuckle. He made the whole courtroom laugh a couple of times. especially especially when he what's it called?
They objected.
Yeah, he objected himself. He was saying something. He goes, "Oh no, sorry, that would be hearsay, wouldn't it?" And I think even the judge laughed at that.
Yeah. And then his lawyer asked him something, and her team objected, and then the judge said, "Ask it a different way," or whatever, or the lawyer said, "I'll ask it a different way," and he goes, "Well, so it can be objected to."
Yeah,
I
but,
think he needs to like tone back the sarcasm a little bit,
I
just a little bit.
don't know. I think he's I think he entertained. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I heard the judge laugh.
He's charming. He's so sweet and
Yeah.
genuine.
And can I just say, watching him, you can see every emotion when he's talking. When he's talking about his love for his children, you can see it. When he's talking about the hurt over his mum passing, you can feel it. You can see it.
Yeah.
Um,
And those little
when he,
nervous smiles he gives.
yeah. Well, the nervous smiles he gives when either when he thinks something is absolutely fucking ridiculous or
Yeah.
absolutely tragic, like losing his finger.
Yeah.
But he also gives them when he's talking about his children and his love for his
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Um, we did find out the reason he and Vanessa split as well today. And it wasn't because of his behaviour or anything like that. It was because Vanessa was missing her life before Hollywood, before um, Johnny becoming uber famous when he did, because previous to Captain Jack, they'd lived a fairly normal life. And
He
it was
was
only when
able
he,
to shield them from things and keep
yeah,
private what needed to be private.
yeah, and when he became uber famous with Jack Sparrow, he had to up the security, he had to protect the children, and they lived majority of their time in America, and that wasn't her life.
Yeah.
She wanted to go back to France.
Yeah.
She was a famous singer in France.
Yeah.
She was a nobody in America, in LA. And that's why they split.
Mm.
Um, and they're still friends and they still love each other. They
Yeah.
never fell out of love. They just wanted them, they had different lives.
Yeah.
And their lives were no longer compatible. It's sad.
It is.
So, of course, she's married now, isn't she? Hence,
Yeah.
I hope his stepfather is better. What a. I nearly said the C word.
Yeah.
Nearly said it. Sorry, TJ, I didn't say it. I stopped myself. But how evil is that? How evil. She used everything he'd told her in their relationship against him.
Yeah.
Because he said he wanted to be the best dad he could to his children. That was the most important thing to him in
Mhm.
his life. That was his ambition. His only ambition was to be a good father.
Yeah.
And then
And
she
he
throws it at him
was
like
and
that.
he is.
He is. He's an absolutely awesome father, and his kids will say that.
Yeah.
Or he was until he met Amber Heard.
And he talked about their wedding on the island and how Jack was there because he was his best man, but Lily Rose didn't come because of some turmoil between her and Amber.
Mm.
I do
Was it
remember
Amber?
that.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember that. That might have been yesterday, though. I don't know. It's all one big blur to me at the moment. So for the last 20 minutes of today, her side got to question him, and they will continue their questioning tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely badgered him. And it was, I loved it though. What's her male lawyer called?
Mr. Rottenborn.
Yes, Mr. Rottenborn. And did Johnny emphasise the word rotten?
He
Very
said it
well.
loud and clear, didn't he?
Oh, very well.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rottenborn.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rottenborn. And then he emphasised it even more later on. When Mr. Rottenborn was being an utter dick. And I know that's his job. That's what he's meant to do.
Yeah.
But he did say, Mr. Rottenborn. He really emphasised the rotten. But yeah. Rotten by name, rotten by nature. But yeah, no. And I worried about this. I did worry about this when I heard their opening statements, that they were going to twist it in this way, and I was right. So, the op-ed, which I might add, they showed him the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
The one he is making a claim against was the one that was published online.
The one where she says refers to 2 years ago after her divorce.
I
Or
don't know
whatever.
if it says that. I don't know what it says. It's still, they both refer to 2 years ago. But the actual headline is different.
Yeah.
They changed the headline when they published it. In the on the line one, it said the headline was something like, I face the wrath of blah blah blah. I can't remember, but anyway.
Yeah.
So basically, they're twisting it. Yes, the article mentions him, not by name, but the article isn't actually about him. It's about her experiences after they split up and she accused him. So therefore, anything that happened before that article is null and void. Because he's only suing her for the op-ed, not anything she said before the op-ed. So therefore, anything before that op-ed is null and void. So for her actually accusing him of abuse is null and void because he didn't sue her 2 years previously when she accused him of abuse. He only
What?
sued her from the article where she never actually talks about any of the abuse that she received, just the aftermath of her accusing him of abuse. And she didn't lie in that. She didn't lie in that article, in that op-ed, because she's talking about her experiences after that accusation, not the accusation itself. That's their argument. There's no libel in that article. There's no libel in that article. He cannot sue her for libel. That's worrying.
Well, I think that when the behind the scenes emails and letters that were written between Amber, her a lawyer,
It's
and
irrelevant.
ACLU come out,
Yeah.
it,
They'll
it
say that's irrelevant because that's not what he's suing her over. He's suing her over the words in that article, and that words in that article are 100% true. And they're right, sort of.
Mm. But everybody knows who he was talking about, and he lost everything afterwards.
Well, there's a little bit of an issue there because they asked him, and his lawyers asked him, what films did he work on between the divorce and that op-ed coming out? And he couldn't
Yeah,
remember. He
yeah.
couldn't remember.
He worked on so many.
But he couldn't remember what he worked on and when he worked on them. Well, we know for definite he worked on at least one, and
Yeah.
that was what's the one that was released last year in America?
Minamata.
No,
No. Oh, City of Lies.
City of Lies.
That had been shelved for a while, hadn't it?
hmm
They did
It was
it and then
record.
it
It was
shelved.
recorded between 2016 2017. Was due to be released in 2018. Wasn't released until last year. The reason they gave for not being released is because that Rocky guy that said he punched him, that was kicked out of court, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or did it not? I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. Did he settle on that or whatever? I don't know what happened with that. Whether it still hadn't gone to court.
Uh,
But Johnny had photographic and testimonial evidence that that didn't happen anyway.
yeah.
Um, so
But didn't stop her lawyers for bringing it up to one of his other witnesses. Do you remember?
mm.
They slipped it in there. Do you
Did they?
recall him being accused of punching so and so on the set of
Oh,
so and so? Remember?
oh, was that the sound guy?
I think so.
Yeah.
And Elaine,
Ugh.
crazy. Mm. I was kind of hoping they'd let her talk to Johnny because she's an ass, and she comes off as an ass.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
so is he.
Yeah, but
But
in my
she's an
opinion,
idiot.
I think his wits would outweigh hers. You know what I'm saying? With battle of wits, he'd
Oh yeah.
demolish her,
Oh yeah, yeah. She's an idiot.
and they know that, I
She's an
guess.
idiot. Yeah. And they've allowed her to question so many other people. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, she might come in. You never know. They might.
No, she might come in. She might come in.
Yeah.
She might be in tomorrow. The other one might have a sore throat or something. But but yeah, it was a bit of a interesting day.
Mm-hmm.
And they were twisting it. They were twisting it completely. And apparently, an article in some tabloid paper had come out 2 months before the op-ed saying that he was axed from um, pirates, and he
Mm-hmm.
said he had no knowledge of that.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
find out until 3 days later, and he found out through an article.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he was never fully. He was never actually informed by Disney he'd been sacked.
Nope. That's how they do it. Done it to
I'm
others.
guessing when he read the article 2 or 3 days later that he then contacted Disney and said, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah.
So just because a tabloid paper had published it doesn't mean that he knew previous to the op-ed coming out, and that's what they're making out, that he knew that they were getting rid of him.
Yeah.
And can I just say, tabloids don't always get it right, because how many tabloids articles have we seen that Amber Heard is going to be a Disney princess, that Amber Heard is getting her own spin-off movie, that Amber Heard is, these are all
Gonna be
tabloid
in
articles.
pirates. Yeah.
It's going to be in Pirates, yeah. These are all tabloid articles that I don't
Mm-hmm.
think are true.
No.
No,
And
no.
since Johnny since Johnny's firing, they've had a new guy come in and fire the people that fired Johnny.
Mhm.
So
So
they're. Oh,
I
is
don't think
that
he'd go
Disney
back
or
to
is
it now.
that Warner Brothers? It's one of them. I
Oh, that's
think you
Warner
did
Brothers. Yeah, it's Warner
right. Okay.
Brothers.
Oh, and little Miss Sunshine that they stand behind and keep on got arrested again.
Oh, yeah. We're not talking about that though. Different
No, I'm
case.
I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying,
I know. I
the
know.
prejudice.
Uh-huh. Anyway, I think that is enough for today.
Okay.
Um, I am worried about tomorrow because Johnny was clearly getting a bit agitated on the stand this evening.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully after resting, because he was talking for so fucking long today,
Yeah.
he might come in a bit calmer tomorrow, and he might be a bit more prepared for their badgering because that's what they were doing. They kept asking the same question over and over again.
They're
Look,
trying to
look,
get him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, I think that is enough for today because we've gone on for over an hour. Woohoo!
Really?
Me going off on tangents. Me going off on tangents.
Oh,
Um,
that's okay.
looking forward to tomorrow and dreading it at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, see you. See you soon. Have
Okay.
fun, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.